Frank Sebastyan is here.
Hello.
How are you, dear boy?
I'm fantastic, Jeremy.
Thank you for dropping by. Have you had a cup of tea or a glass of wine?
Well, we're about to partake in a...
Oh! Has the flag or the sun has passed the sail past or the flagpole or something?
Right.
Are you going to film this, are you?
I'm going to photograph this.
Oh, okay. That was very nice of you.
Okay, excuse me.
I've got to... Oh, it's beeping. You put it on remote control. Ah, well, welcome to the new age of technology. Looking.
Got there.
I sense you've done this before. Yeah, but if you move up to that chair, it might be a bit more comfortable because there's this thing in your way.
I got BO, have I?
No, you sit there.
Okay.
That's fine. Get as close to that as you like.
Is that more better?
I've got a joke for you.
Oh, jokes are good.
Yep, jokes are good. Here it is. One day a florist went to a barber for a haircut. After the cut, he asked about the bill. And the barber replied, I cannot accept any money from you. I'm doing community service this week. The florist was very pleased, very happy, liked the cut, left the shop, and when the barber opened his shop the next morning, there was a thank you note, a thank you card, and a dozen roses waiting for him at the door. Later, a cop comes in for a haircut, and when he tries to pay the bill, the barber again replies, I can't accept the money from you. I'm doing community service this week. And the cop was happy, very happy, and left the shop. The next morning, when the barber went to open the shop, there was a thank you card and a dozen donuts waiting for him at the door. Wow, he was very happy about that. Then a member of Congress came in for a haircut. And when he went to pay the bill, the barber again replied, I can't accept money from you. I'm doing community service this week. Now, the member of Congress was very happy about all of that, left the shop. Next morning, when the barber went to open up, there were a dozen members of Congress lined up waiting for a free haircut. And that, my friends, it says, illustrates the fundamental difference between the citizens of our country and the politicians who run it. If you don't forward this, you have no sense of humour.
Exactly.
I love it.
Jeremy, permission to speak?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I want to congratulate you on launching your radio show called JeremyCordeaux.com.
Well, it's Tony Denton and it's Andy Martin and
exactly.
It's Caroline, and it's a group thing. I wouldn't have had the knowledge, let alone the courage.
The know-how, but nevertheless, you're doing it. It's on the road, and I posted this week to promote the show for today.
Oh, thank you.
On Facebook, and the response has been just very extraordinary. People are just supporting the idea that you're back on the air in this fashion. Excuse me.
Well, it's just a question of breaking the mould.
They miss you, and you're good at what you do, and they want to see you more often. Hopefully one day back on mainstream,
Well, old-fashioned radio, I have a totally open mind to embracing that. Cheers.
Indeed. So the fans are out there, and they're behind you. Good luck.
Well, you can't do anything without people who support what you're doing and like what you're doing and indeed contribute to what you're doing.
Indeed.
I was trying to remember when you left. What was the year that you left 5DN?
I left in 1979. I started in 68.
Right.
So I was there 11 and a bit years.
So you were certainly there when I was there. You were music director.
I can remember when you came to the station and we first met in the passageway or whatever.
Yeah. Radio stations are always like rabbit warrens. I don't know why.
Ours was anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, the only station that I've been into that isn't a rabbit warren, and for the first time in my life...
Is this one?
This is extraordinary. But the one I was referring to, I had occasion to be interviewed about 4 or 5 months ago on the ABC in Adelaide at Collinswood. That is no rabbit warren, believe me. Have you been there?
No, they wouldn't let me anywhere near that place.
But no, it's the first time that I've seen it, and it's huge. It's a rambling... It really is something else. It's not like an ordinary radio station.
They didn't want to check you out for if you.
They checked everything. Yeah, they did. Check your bags.
Check your bags. Yes. Are you carrying a card? No, well, let's not go into that.
Anyway, it was 68 that I started there, and I remember you starting, and very quickly after you came, we went to lunch one day. Do you remember that or not?
Well, radio back in those days was very much lunch a lot.
We went to the Vine restaurant at the Lion Hotel. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember. And Ron Tremaine.
Yeah.
Those were wonderful days.
In those days.
Yeah.
And that was the start of our relationship and our friendship, I'm pleased to say.
Indeed. And, you know, the people who would congregate around that room, because Ron Tremaine was a great restaurant entrepreneur.
He was.
Brought a whole lot of people. You could do business over lunch that you could probably not do anywhere else.
Indeed.
Do you remember, did you ever see Wolf Blass in those early days when he was trying to get his business off the ground? He would go in and take a wine bottle and glasses around to tables, literally telling people, taste this wine. This is my latest wine. You will taste this wine.
He was a great entrepreneur, wasn't he?
He was used to wear a German helmet. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes,
I do.
Carl, he did.
Yeah.
Nobody found any insult or problem with that.
No, what was the name of the restaurant that Ron Tremaine had opposite the Royal Adelaide Hospital? That was the beautiful building.
Opposite the Royal Adelaide Hospital.
Opposite the hospital.
Ayres House.
Ayres House, yeah.
Yes,
he ran
indeed.
that for a while.
He did for a while, indeed.
Yeah, he was big time. And of course, he brought the Beatles out with John Martins.
Yes.
He did a lot of good things. The Princeton Club, which was legendary in Adelaide.
Yes.
You were too young to have been at
No, I never went to the Princeton Club.
No.
But it was the place that people went to be seen or to see.
Well, everybody had an MG except me. I had a Ford Consul. But the girls there, they were the hottest chicks in town.
Oh, yes.
They really were. And that was all due to Ron Tremaine. He was a tremendous promoter.
Yes.
And knew what he was doing. Very good.
But like radio, the old restaurateurs are gone.
Bill Sparr?
Yeah, Bill Sparr's gone.
He comes to mind immediately because he was...
Stratos, Cork and Cleaver.
Yeah.
Look, it's so sad. Balázs Varga.
Yeah. Hungarian goulash.
Yeah. You know, he had a wonderful way with, not only the English language, but he could actually get away with things. I remember one of his standard lines when you went in there, he would say something like, because he had a rather thick Hungarian accent, and he would say, pull yourself off at the bar and feel yourself at home. And people would go, what?
That's not very nice. Yeah.
But he got away with it.
I first met Balázs Varga in 1966 because in that year, my rock and roll band, which was called the Insect, we were doing a 2.5-year contract at the top room of the Arkaba Hotel. And Balázs came there and became a chef. And he quickly took over on the ground floor a restaurant which was called the Red Wine Grill.
Yes.
You wouldn't have seen that before your time.
No.
And he was heading off that particular dining room, and they did the best food and steaks down there. It really was very good. And part of our contract, because our band was there 6 nights a week plus Saturday afternoon, we had a staff meal every day, and we ate in the Red Wine Grill. Now, this was the toffiest thing to get as a part of the perk, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember the De Freitas brothers?
Yes.
They had the Pink Pig, and Tony had a whole lot of different restaurants around the place.
Well, he had the Blue Whale on Payneham Road.
No, that was Damio. I think that was the brother.
Damio, that's right.
Yeah. But all those wonderful people who knew their stuff, my God, it's wonderful to watch professionals work.
Well, yeah, they were tops. They really were. Bill Sparr was a genius at this.
Yes. And a builder and a developer and all of the other things.
He really was, and a great guy. Lost to the world of Adelaide.
And very young when he went, very young.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but after the I associate you with Downtown, because Because I remember you were running that, or did you
Yes.
buy it, or what?
Well, I founded the thing and put it all together, and
And it was a wonderful arcade, wasn't it? It was an entertainment place.
An amusement. It was called a leisure centre.
Yeah, and it worked
Originally,
extremely
a
well.
place like that years ago would have been called a pinball parlour.
Oh, no, this was much more sophisticated than that.
That was something that I always try to overcome the image of. Because pinball parlours, normal people would not go into a pinball parlour.
No.
And with downtown, the point was to attract family members and ordinary people off the street to go in there and enjoy the recreation, the entertainment.
What did you do after that?
What did I do after that? I went back to my root company, if I may say so, which was an amusement company operating amusement devices in hotels.
Oh, what, jukeboxes?
Jukeboxes, pinball games.
Oh, I love jukeboxes.
Video games, Daytonas, all that sort of thing.
What do you think of the world today? Is it as much fun? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's different,
It's
Jeremy.
different. Yes, it is
It's
different.
totally different. What we pulled off in those days was successful for a number of reasons. Firstly, the security that we had on the front door. If you didn't match our dress code, behaviour code, you were turned away and told. And if you've been drinking, we'd smell your breath. In fact, at the door.
Was John McDonald behind that?
Yeah, John, we were together in a joint venture. That's how it happened. And he was marvellous in setting it all up as well.
Oh, he's a brilliant accountant, a very nice man too.
But when we had that lunch at the Vine, I think I introduced you to John through that, if you remember.
Well, no.
And your connection with John became very strong.
He became my accountant and looked after me for years and years and years and years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased that worked for you.
No, it certainly did.
John was marvellous.
Beautiful man.
But things are different now. Entertainments, people don't go into pubs and play pinball games much anymore.
No.
You look in the hotels, there are very few jukeboxes. All of that industry is now absent from the pub industry. Part of it brought about by poker machines, of course.
Oh, God,
which,
yes.
That damaged the entertainment industry too, because many of the rooms in hotels pre-poker machines were taken up with band entertainment. They would have live entertainment. But the minute pokies came in, the bands went and were replaced by poker machines. And it all became totally different. The publicans were pleased. Nick Xenophon was not.
No, I would be absolutely with Nick Xenophon on that. But where is the band, the Pokey Party or whatever it is these days when we need it? It certainly is a... I don't like them really because they do damage, and they seem to be most prolific in the poorest suburbs where people can least afford to lose the money.
Jeremy, it's interesting you say that, because at the time I was running our company with all the amusement devices, I was an agent for an American brand of pinball game called Gottlieb. You may have heard of it.
I know the name, yeah.
Very famous pinball game. Anyway, when it was announced that poker machines were imminent to come into South Australia, the principals of Gottlieb approached me because they had a division which made poker machines. And they said, look, if you want to be our agent for the poker machines as well as the pinball games, we would like to come into South Australia with you. For reasons similar to what you've just espoused, I refused. I didn't want a bar of it because I believe that the people who are hurt most are those who can least afford it.
Yes. I mean, I
could have been a multi-millionaire like other people around.
But your principle.
Yeah.
The thing about the casino, and I was a great fan of the casino because it was a place that people could go.
It's a dedicated venue.
Yeah, and they could go to gamble. But in the early days, particularly when the casino was elegant, you couldn't go to the casino unless you were in a sinister. Very, very formal.
It was a glamorous night out.
Very, very glamorous.
The trouble with the pokies is they're on every street corner.
Yes,
that's where they do all the damage.
Yep. No, it's out of control. I was thinking the other day, Barry Humphries, the dear, dear man that he was. And when I got the flick from AA, he was one of the first people to ring me all the way from London because he just wanted to support me,
Isn't that good?
Lovely man, beautiful. Lovely. And I subsequently found out that he really does hate political correctness and woke and
Don't
all
we
this.
all?
Well, we all should.
Many of us. The trouble is we are in a silent majority.
Yeah.
And we don't speak out and act on these things that we disagree with, political correctness and other things.
Well, this program and this station is dedicated to getting rid of woke, or at least putting up the arguments to getting rid of woke and political correctness.
Exactly.
Why I mentioned Barry was that when he would come to town, he'd always come in, and I can picture him now with his sort of hat and his very stylish tweed coat and pocket handkerchief. Very stylish, lovely man. And he would always go, and I gathered he'd been doing it for years, he would always go into the record library.
Oh.
Because he would go through the wonderful collection that we had. It would have been one of the best in the world of 78s and old LPs and things, and that would have been largely a credit to you, because all of that was collected and filed and preserved.
We could find anything in a second.
Yeah.
We knew where everything was. Do you know the tragedy? I don't know whether you've heard this or not, but when the station came to an end, all those records from the library were taken out to
don't tell
Dry
me.
Creek.
Well, no, I know
To
because
the dump or somewhere.
I'll tell you,
disposed of.
I'll tell you something that probably would get me into trouble in a different context. No, it would get me into trouble in any context. When they resolved to go FM, and they were going to be a music station, but not the sort of music station that you and I would like. They were going to be sort of, I don't know, rock and roll, or no, worse than that, more modern than that. I like rock and roll. I think if it goes bomba to bomba, dang, 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 a ding a dong ding, it's wonderful.
Absolutely.
But not otherwise. But anyway, when they resolved, and I was on the board, I only had 10% of that company. And Alan Scott had been convinced that the way to go would be to get that new FM license. And he did. And SGIC, in fact, gave us the money. I don't know, they didn't lend it to us. They gave us $6 million to buy the license, or to bid for that license. And our bid won. All well and good. Everyone had a party. I resigned as managing director because I couldn't take the company down that road. Not possible. I didn't believe that it would work, and of course it didn't. But never mind. It all turned out well in the end. What they did, I think I probably stayed on a couple of weeks until the knife or the axe fell on my morning show, because they don't want to. What would a FM music station want with a morning talk show? Anyway, I would come in at night because I had the key to get in.
This is getting a bit sneaky now.
No. I was in my dumpster. What do they call it? Dumpster diving mode. I would unlock the back gate at the radio station.
Near where the old olive tree used to be.
Where the old olive tree used to be, yeah. And I would go in, and there was the dumpster. And they had a whole series of them because for some strange reason, they wanted to get rid of everything to do with the old 5D and the old talk station. The dumpster was filled with pictures, publicity pictures going back 50 years.
What a mortal sin.
I grabbed all of them.
Oh, you did?
And I grabbed some of the records,
Good
but
boy.
they threw the 78s. They just piled the 78s into the dumpster. And a lot of the LPs as well, because the whole thing was now going to be done on tape, or it was going to be done, I don't know how they were going to do it, but it seemed to me to be absolute sacrilege.
Did they not take the majority out to Dry Creek and dispose of them?
Well, I don't know where the dumpster went.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I, over about 3 nights, got to know that series of dumpsters probably
It broke
very
my heart.
well.
Broke my heart to hear that. It's a terrible
yes,
story.
and when I
should have gone to a museum or a library somewhere.
absolutely, or
It should have been saved.
There is a
perpetuity.
sound archive in Canberra.
Yep.
That should have been kept.
Exactly.
When I told Barry Humphries that his beloved record library that he used to go through whenever he was in town or coming to the station to do the morning program, he couldn't believe it. you couldn't have. How would you possibly not have a sense of history?
Well, unfortunately, there's too much of that in the world, in my lifetime at least.
Yeah.
And you can go back to other things other than the radio station. Look at the movie theatres that used to be in Adelaide. You wouldn't, before your time, Jeremy, was the Regent Theatre in Rundle Street.
Yes.
And that was the most it was as good a theatre as anything in Melbourne, Sydney, West End, London.
Yep, it reminded me.
I
did see it. It reminded me of the State Theatre in Sydney.
It was truly magnificent.
Grand. They used to make these.
Down.
Well, it's stupid. They wouldn't be allowed to do that today, would they?
Of course they would. They're still doing things like that. It's
Lord
ridiculous. They've never learned. The other theatre that really upset me was the Theatre Royal in Hindley Street.
Right.
Now, that was opposite what is now... it used to be downtown. When we shifted from the original site up the street to the old Picture Theatre,
Yes.
the Picture Theatre was called the Civic. That's right. And opposite that was the Theatre Royal, which was a 3-tiered live theatre, which had live shows. Annie Get Your Gun, My Fair Lady, all that stuff in those days. I went there once with my mum, so I can remember vividly these beautiful boxes overlooking the stage. Yeah. It was something to see. You know what it is now?
What?
It's a bloody car park.
Because that's the best they can do with it.
That's the best.
They would knock it down. They'd knock it down just
for put a car park right
there.
next to where Miller Anderson was.
Oh, I remember Miller Anderson,
the retail department store.
Yeah. So along with the theatres, and I think I can think of only one theatre around the place now, which is that one up on. Is it Kensington Road?
Oh, that's the Regal.
The Regal.
Yeah. That's good.
That's
so is the Capri on Goodwood Road. The Capri is very good, with the organ that comes up.
Yeah.
That's excellent too.
We can only support, 2 theatres in the entire country.
Well, the other thing that...
Drive-ins have gone.
Who?
Drive-ins have gone.
Drive-ins have gone, yeah, well, that too. Some of the hotels, the South Australian Hotel, the famous one where the Beatles stood on the balcony and overlooked the... thousands in front of them.
Well, that could be heritage listed.
Well, surely it was then.
So they built that great big awful, what originally was the Ansett Hotel.
It became the Ansett, yeah, and now it's the Stamford.
Yes.
But, to do that was a mortal sin too.
Where was the government? I mean, because Don Dunstan wouldn't have worn any of this, would he? Or was he behind it? It didn't strike me as a man who would
you wouldn't
allow...
think. I mean, with his interest in the arts...
Yeah.
It certainly wouldn't seem so. But this, was he still around at that time? I'm not sure about that.
I don't know.
Anyway, whoever was in government is ultimately responsible for allowing all this to happen.
Yes,
and
I mean,
just
somebody in government let the poker machines come in, somebody in the government let
Yeah,
but if you put the sort of the theatres, you've also got, and the hotels, you've also got the department stores. And even in my limited memory, I can remember dozens of department stores in Adelaide.
There were
dozens of them.
Many of them are gone.
Moore's is now the
beautiful store where the courts are now.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant building.
Around the corner was People's Stores in Goodyear Street. That was a department store too.
Yeah.
The one I said before in Hindley Street. Miller Anderson. Then there was Myer, Charles Burke's.
Yeah.
Burke's became David Jones.
Yeah.
There was Cox Toys.
John Martin's, of course.
John Martin's. There was Craven's, another store. So they're just some of them, or many of them, or most of them.
Is Trim's still there?
Trim's, well, that wasn't a department store.
No, I know, but the names are just going.
No, they've downsized. They've gone from their original site on the corner of Carrington Street, and they're now down on King William Road, almost on South Terrace, on the eastern side. It's half the size or less than what it was. Still a great store.
Yeah. And we've got an emphasis on things like... putting in bike lanes. We're very big on bike lanes, and we're big on scooters. You know, where are the priorities of a council? City council should be, up there looking after. You wouldn't find this in Paris or Rome or probably London.
Can we talk about The Voice and what the councils have done there?
Oh,
and
yeah, please.
What Qantas has
We
done?
had a call this morning from
Qantas,
Yep.
promoting this thing.
Oh, it's absurd.
Football clubs, the AFL.
Yep.
Why don't they mind their own business and do what they're there for?
Well,
in fact, in the case of football clubs, the constitution of the Port Adelaide Football Club, which is my club, the only policy, the only objects of the club is to deal with football, not politics, not anything else. Should keep its nose out of it. I just can't support this.
No,
It shouldn't go either way. It's not a matter of saying don't go yes, but it's also a matter of not getting involved at all. They shouldn't say no either.
And if a council is going to put money up for a yes vote, it's got to put up an equal sum
For the no
vote.
Exactly.
Why not?
But they shouldn't get involved anyway at all, I say.
Well, they're more interested in activism than they are in localism, I'm afraid.
Exactly.
But what can we do about that?
Well, we speak out when the opportunity presents itself.
Well,
I think the trouble is when these issues bob up, and usually by minority groups, they get the headlines because the media get on the bandwagon. They make a big story out of it and start promoting the
But
thing.
the media will not ask the questions. Now, when I was sort of deeper in the business of day-to-day talk radio journalism, it was all about asking questions of the people, questioning them. If you had the opportunity to get to them, you questioned them. But it amazes me that here is Anthony Albanese, who is going to implement the statement from the heart, the Uluru Statement from the Heart, in full, in its entirety. And yet he admitted on 3AW
He hasn't
2
read
days
it.
ago he has not read it.
No. Can you believe that?
Well, look, I thought about that. I thought, well, this is suicide. I mean, the man is going to implement something he has never read.
Yet he's hardly been taken to task over this by the media.
No,
They just leave him alone.
What you'd say, Prime Minister, tell me why you believe in something that you haven't even read. Why are you going to implement something that you haven't explored? I mean, you've got a duty of care. You can't do that.
Exactly.
But in thinking about it, I believe the reason he says this is that if the yes vote gets up, and probably deep down he hopes it won't, but if the yes vote does get up, and all of these things that I am told by people who are much smarter than I am, you know, the compensation and the reparations and the rent and all of the other things that are in line to hit white Australia with, if these things get up, he's going to say, I'm sorry, I didn't read it. I didn't know that. I didn't. He's trying to just prepare an exit point, I suspect.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
It's weird.
Sure.
It's weird.
Oh, dear.
You notice the sign on the gate?
Yeah, I did see that. I wondered about that. You're a bit brave, although in this area I don't think you're too brave.
Oh, no, I mean,
Because in many areas you would be disfigured or defaced.
No, look, I figure
Here,
that...
I don't think you will, Jeremy.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there are people around who have very, very vastly different opinions to mine, but I think you have to be prepared to state.
You've got to stand up.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything.
What I was getting at before, though, I mean, the media gets onto these minority things and drums them up and creates a story, a big story about it. But those who are in opposition to it, who are generally in a majority, sit back and do nothing. Why don't they go out and protest these things when they're a live new issue?
Yes.
In other words, create a street march like these people do. Do what they're doing. We need to march upon Parliament House. We need to march in King William Street. And we should try and attract the majority out there to show that, you know, the numbers don't support what you're trying to do.
Well, as I said earlier in the program,
But we all sit back and just don't do it.
well, it's a question of apathy, I suspect.
That's exactly right.
And
We need leaders to do it.
Yes, I imagine that in 1788, the Aboriginal people were fairly comfortable and indeed probably apathetic. And they thought, well, gee whiz, I mean, 3 ships sailing into Sydney Harbour, or whatever they would call it, we've seen these sort of big sailing ships before, big deal. They didn't see the 3,000-4,000 ships over the horizon, didn't know they were there. Apathy caused them to lose their country. They couldn't defend it, and they lost it. Now, the same thing could face Australia today. It was almost so in World War II. Japanese would have given everyone short shrift, probably Aboriginals more so. But I still think sanity will prevail. I've got a lot of faith in my fellow Australian. But I'd like to see, I agree with you, I would like to see the sort of enthusiasm that we saw with the Matildas. 11 peaked television audience, 11 million people.
How good was that?
And scarves and logos being waved and flags and hundreds of people, thousands of people out there. I mean, unfortunately, the voice is a little more important. I mean, I'm not saying that the cup isn't important, but, gee, get the priorities right.
On the scale, it doesn't match it, does it?
Well, not really.
The voice is serious. I mean, it's a whole different thing. I mean, it just seems to me that I think... getting pretty heavy, aren't we?
No, I don't think it's heavy. I think it's good to talk about it. And here we are talking about these matters when the Chinese are putting hundreds of satellites over Australia to keep an eye on us. I asked earlier why, if we did something like that to China, what would they do to us?
Well, they've already done it in the last few years with the importation of goods from Australia, which they've damaged our exports big time.
Oh, well.
They just hurt us in another way.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
No.
And here we are trying to get them back on board, which is putting all the eggs back in the one basket.
Well, hopefully in the meantime, because we lost that basket, we opened up other markets through other parts of the world, which I think we have done too.
Yeah, but
it's grown in other areas, but you want to keep them now.
No, absolutely.
I'd like to have both bites of the cherry, both ways.
Foot in both camps.
Exactly.
This has just been handed to me. If this is true, this is how GovCorp. I've not heard of GovCorp before, but I suppose that means corporate government. Okay, corporate government will win the voice. Beware. The government has actually set up a trick in the referendum to come for the voice. They have two questions. One is going to be weighted more than the other. How would you do that? How would you weight one more than the other? Okay, all right. First, one is going to be weighted more than the other. So, if you tick the yes to the question, do you recognise the Indigenous people, which I guess most people will, this tick will override your no vote for the other question.
What's the other question?
The other question is about the voice.
Voice.
Tick no to both questions. Also do it in pen and not with pencil that they will provide you with. Dangerous times ahead, folks. Spread this far and wide. We have to share this with everyone. Well, I haven't seen this before.
No.
You can, it's possible to get paranoid. I mean, look at Trump. I mean, he's quite paranoid about just about everything.
Well, the problem with him and them over there is that both of them are unreliable and untrustworthy. I mean, Biden, they should have an age limit for a start because both, no, seriously.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Trump's 78 or 79 or something.
He
Biden's
would be
80-something.
Yeah.
It's just too old. I mean, Biden can't even remember the name of his children sometimes and other things. He's made a fool of himself so often.
Wasn't he in
I
Canada?
don't understand how he got elected on this basis. Why can't they find... Mind you, their system is totally different to ours, isn't it? Well, if you don't have the money and you don't have the backing, you can't get in.
And you've got to go through all the primaries to get...
exactly, all that.
A crack
the
out.
point is that unless you can... there would be... What they need is younger people to stand in both sides of the party to turf out those two fellas. Neither of them should be there, in my opinion, in the future.
But wouldn't you think with a population of 300 60 million people, you'd be able to find the best of the best. You'd have the sharpest Democrat, and you'd have the sharpest or the prettiest Republican. Shouldn't it be a meritocracy?
Well, it should be, but isn't it a bit like look at Australia, for example. We get who we get, and we've got a union man now heading the Labor Party. The point is, the money that these people are paid as Prime Minister is minuscule compared to senior executives in industry. I mean, why would somebody from Qantas or anywhere else who gets paid much, much more want to be a Prime Minister, except for the glory and, the prestige of it all?
Well, you don't really have any power.
We'll never get the best because we can't afford the best, because they won't leave where they are because they're being paid much more.
Yeah, but as a friend of mine, Tony Denton over here, says, you've got the Prime Minister being paid $500,000. Is it $500,000 a year? 500? Yeah, so he gets 500,000 a year, but there are heads of government departments who are on at least $1 million and sometimes more. Nobody should really be paid in the public sector more than the Prime Minister.
No, or councils who get 400,000 as well, up to 400,000. This is nuts that a council boss should be almost on what the Prime Minister's on.
Yeah, well, that's ridiculous.
But we're never going to attract those people if we continue to pay. We're not paying the Prime Minister enough. That's my point.
Yeah.
Because if we pay them more, we'll attract better people.
Yeah, but there's the poor old Prime Minister who has to go, cap in hand, to the conference today and tomorrow and be told by the unions exactly what he can do and what he can't do. Yeah. So why don't we just skip the middleman and elect the unions? Yeah. Because if they're running the show, it might be cheaper.
Quite so.
I'm sure they'd run it better.
Well,
be interesting to watch.
He's not the smartest tool in the box, is he?
Which one?
Well, Albo.
Oh, Albo. Yeah. I just wish he could say Australia instead of Australia.
He can't say many words correctly.
No, there seems to be a little problem there somewhere.
Education.
No, I don't know. I mean, he's far better educated than me. I mean,
I don't know about that.
Oh, God, he's got a degree in...
yeah, but in what?
No, he's got a degree in economics. Interestingly enough, the Prime Minister has a degree in economics.
But he's never held the position, has he?
No, but the Treasurer has a degree in politics.
Yeah.
And you know what he did his PhD on? You know what he did his doctorate on?
No.
Keating.
Oh, Keating. Yeah.
I mean, imagine doing a whole thesis on Paul Keating. God, welcome to the recession we had to have. How would you get away with a line like that? Oh, should I read some of these?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, okay.
Click on each one. There.
Oh, click on each one. Okay. Do. Is it? Where do I read it? Jeremy, if they're geostationary satellites, they can't be... No. Okay, we're talking about the Chinese satellites. No, the geostatic satellites are different. They are at a much higher altitude and geostationary. The thousand or hundreds, actually, hundreds of little... I imagine they're little shoebox-sized satellites. They are completely different and at a much lower altitude for some reason. I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear in the story. That's what it said. That's what I gleaned it to mean. They banned the Barbie movie because there's a map visible in the movie which has caused some concern for them for some reason.
Chinese?
Yeah, no, the Islamic countries have banned Barbie.
Okay, right.
It's interesting. So go back up here. So good to have you with us. Pleased that the phone is working. Kath, okay. Thank you, Kath.
I want to go back to the other ones.
Here we go. No, I can read them off here. You have a voicemail thing. You have a voicemail. Message was left. Call. Okay. Can't do that at the moment. Anyway, a lot of lovely calls and a lot of lovely messages. Maria, thank you. Mike O'Reilly. Thank you, Mike. Bless your heart. And I've got listener 37 526. Are we numbering our listeners?
If we don't know their name, we
No, that can't be right. Nearly 5 to 12, by the way. Where's the morning gone? Thank you for your kind words. Listen, number 7610. Listener 46. Oh, the numbers are good, aren't they? Thank you for your. Oh, it's very nice of you all.
Jeremy,
it goes on and on.
These numbers
This
just
is
show
good.
the support level you're getting, and that's fantastic.
Well,
On a thing which is not mainstream, and
no, and it's different. It's got to be
but
different.
It reflects your backing and your support and your popularity, and that's what I said in the first place.
No, I've been
Good
around.
on you.
I've been around a while, and a lot of people over a lot of years have been kind and supported me. And I would have absolutely nothing without the people who not only mentored me, but came to the party,
Indeed.
became listeners, became readers, became viewers. No, it's very important. None of us can do anything without largely the support of the people who agree with us,
Exactly.
and sometimes even the people who disagree with us.
Yep.
So have you quietly and nicely retired, or you
No, not at all.
still raging?
I'm raging in a different way these days. I mean, when I retired 14 years ago, I thought, well, what am I going to do? Christine thought I'd be a pain in the, and so she contacted Tanya Powell, who ran a modelling agency.
Oh, yes.
And Tanya was interested in my services and it put me on the list, and I started doing catwalk jobs and photographic work. And I'm still doing that now with Bridget Mitchell, who's with Finesse.
Have you got groupies following you? And
They throw their knickers at me. It's lovely.
I would have expected nothing less of you.
They used to do that with the band, and I've got a box full of knickers.
Christine.
Well, she doesn't know about this.
Right. Okay. Right.
Anyway, so I'm still doing the modelling. I still do occasional performances with a band. My band is no longer. We broke up after 55 years.
Ooh.
What else do? I ride a motorbike regularly. I've got a Harley Davidson.
God, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm about to go on 2 rides in the next 3 or 4 months with a group of 3 friends. We're going to the high country of New South Wales and Victoria, firstly, in November. And then next March, we're off to Tasmania to ride around the island together. This is a fantastic thing to do, Jeremy. Last October, we went to Flinders Ranges and then across to Broken Hill. It was nearly 3,000 k's on the Harley.
Well, you must be good at it. How long have you been riding a bike?
Oh, well, I've only had the Harley since 1995, but I've ridden a bike since I was 17. Not a big bike.
Well, you know what you're doing, but isn't it the people around you, the cars
Very much
around
so.
you?
Yeah, for sure. You've got to ride defensively at all times. Everybody who rides a motorbike comes off once, and from that you've got to learn the error of your way and not do what you did wrong that time.
But when you get to a certain age, we don't bounce all that well.
I'm 80, just turned 80.
Are you really?
Yes, I'm really 80, but
Well.
I'm still riding my bike, and I love it, and I would not give it up for anything. But I'll know when I shouldn't do it anymore, and then I'll sell the bike. So common sense prevails.
Yeah.
I've got grandkids, beautiful children they are. My daughters are wonderful. I've got 3 of them and 6 grandies. So I'm busy all the time. I do a lot of Facebook, which I think is a wonderful media as well.
Yeah.
Something that's grown and become substantial in the marketplace, social media. And I love doing that. I spend an hour or 2 a day doing that. That's mostly it.
But life is obviously pretty
great.
busy and good.
It is.
But you've taken up management too, because I saw somewhere that you are managing Leon Biner.
I do indeed. When it was said that he should not be returned after this year, last year,
What do you make of that?
I couldn't work it out.
I couldn't either.
No, I think Leon is he's just wasted not being used somewhere at the moment.
Oh, yes,
He's
my
too
God.
good.
Yeah.
And his ratings have always been up there, as you know.
Yes.
He's sitting idly at the moment. The difficulty with Leon, from a management point of view, is that in the marketplace in Adelaide, there aren't many places where he can go.
No. Well, here's one.
Yep. Those that I've approached in the main media have not responded favourably. They were all interested, but, you know, they need an opening for a start. If somebody's settled and they're rating well, they're not going to make a change usually, are they?
No.
So,
Well, look, there is room in every city, as evidenced in Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne, 2GB in Sydney, number 1 by a country mile, 4BC Brisbane, number 1 by a country mile, 3AW, number 1 by a country mile. I think Adelaide is the only station or only city in the whole country, including Perth. 6PR is number 1 in Perth. Adelaide is the only station where the talk station is rating number 6.
I think if we were in Sydney or Melbourne and I had Leon, we would have him in another spot. But Leon doesn't want to leave Adelaide.
No.
He's happy
Look,
here. He lives here.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But you never know what's around the corner, by
No,
the way.
you don't.
And things happen.
Things do.
And we make things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And
No,
I'm
thanks.
trying my best, and I want him to hit the airwaves again, like I want with you, too.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I think,
both of you should be back on mainstream radio.
well, until that time, the Lord helps those who help themselves.
Indeed. Exactly.
And one of the things we could certainly do with jeremycordeaux.com is to show that we are a force to be reckoned with. And once it starts to bite, they may think differently about a whole lot of different subjects and things.
I think
You never
Leon
know.
is being dealt with rather disappointingly.
Oh, yes. Yeah, look, I would agree with you. In fact, I would think inexplicably. You know, it's tricky. We've got to go.
Leon,
Yes.
you, Jeremy, or Leon?
Well, look,
Just seeing
you
if
can
you're
call me
awake.
anything except late for
Jeremy,
breakfast.
thanks for having me today. It's been fantastic.
It's wonderful. Love
Good luck with your
Christine.
program.
Thank you. Well, it's a whole station, but this is only one program on the station, 1 day a week. I'll go back to the garage and we'll do our postings there on Facebook, but we'll have this and we'll hopefully grow this every Friday.
I might make you an offer of you could come on the back of the Harley on
Oh, God, no.
Pillion for a ride, and we'll do a trip for coffee one day.
No, look. I'm in this business. I have led what I suppose I would regard as a fairly, dangerous life. There's no safety net down there. But I've always tried not to,
Tempt fate.
No, don't tempt fate. Anyway, look after yourself.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. Appreciate being here. Cheers.
Frank Sebastyan, ladies and gentlemen.